We try our best to stick to fact on this channel, but not everything in our reality has been proven or disproven. That doesn't, however, make the unproven any less compelling, so we're going to give in to our compulsions and explore some paranormal stories associated with the Second World War, focusing solely on ghosts in this video, as they seem to be the most common stories out there. Ghosts, if we believe them to be real, are often the product of tragic deaths, or at least, tragic ghost stories are the stories you hear about. It makes sense then that a great many souls unstrung from their bodies would linger in places touched by war. Millions of humans died terribly in World War II, and many lives were cut short, their aspirations forever unfulfilled. The beaches of Normandy are said to be haunted by the ghosts of the soldiers who died attacking and defending the positions in the D-Day landings in June 1944. Bearing in mind this particular story comes from a forum, one man claimed he was exploring the old German bunkers with his 7-year-old daughter in, I'd estimate, 2008, only for his daughter to tell him later on of the men who were looking and pointing guns at her. His daughter did not know what World War II era German soldiers were, yet when he questioned her about what she saw, she described just that. She even drew what she saw from memory, depicting an MP40, a German helmet, and even a German medal. When asked by her father if she was scared, she replied, "Yes, but I knew they weren't trying to hurt me. There are a lot of them everywhere I looked. When we would walk out the bunker, I would see one in the grass or behind a tree. Then, when I was in the car, I could see them looking at me from behind a fence in a field." Other visitors to the bunkers at Normandy report shadow figures lurking in the dark, and some claim to have taken photos of ghost soldiers too. Apparently, the Japanese island of Okinawa is one of the most haunted places in the world, and it's also not without its World War II ghost stories. When the Americans and their allies invaded Okinawa in March 1945, many Japanese civilians killed themselves so they wouldn't fall into the hands of the Americans, who would purportedly do something worse than murder them. Many jumped to their deaths from Okinawa's cliffs. Visitors to the island now claim to hear footsteps dash past them, followed by screaming as the Japanese civilians who leapt from the cliffs in 1945 do so once again, reliving their tragic demise over and over. Some even claim to feel the spirits brush past them, likening it to being hit by a wind. Japanese women committed suicide in some of the caves of the island too, and these are also said to be haunted. Elsewhere on the island, on a site which is now a golf course, the ghosts of Japanese schoolgirls have been spotted, and it's said that these girls killed themselves to avoid serving in the Japanese army in the defense of the island. The Japanese occupation of Singapore in the Second World War was brutal, and out of that brutality, many ghosts were born, supposedly. Changi Beach is meant to be one of the most haunted places on the entire island. In February and March 1942, Japanese troops in Singapore and Malaysia enacted Suk Ching, or the Purge through Cleansing, executing between 5,000 and 25,000 Chinese men they believed were a threat. It's said that 66 of these men were lined up on the shore at Changi Beach and gunned down. Visitors to the beach claim to hear the echoes of their suffering, reporting screams and even weeping. These sounds, however, are possibly the reactions of ghost family members who watched these 66 men die. Some visitors report headless bodies and even floating heads, ghastly remnants of the prisoners the Japanese beheaded instead of shot. Nearby Changi Hospital is said to be incredibly haunted too, and this is only exacerbated by the cultists who've apparently since used the supernatural power of the haunted ground for their rituals. Here, some 50,000 Allied men were held prisoner and tortured by the Japanese throughout the Second World War. The SS Alkimos was a merchant ship built in the United States and sold to the Norwegians in October 1943. She served in the war for about a year and a half in total, transporting troops and cargo and surviving attacks by German subs and aircraft. In August 1944, one of her crew members shot to death another crew member and then turned the gun on himself. Thereon, the Alkimos was cursed. After the war, she was purchased by a Greek shipping company, under whom she crashed into a reef just off the coast of Western Australia. During repairs in Fremantle, Western Australia, the ship caught fire. On her way out of port, when she was finally ready to leave, her tow line snapped and she drifted off and struck the shore. Severely damaged, she was ultimately stranded off that same coast. While the Alkimos was busy sinking, she was popular with divers and salvagers who claimed they heard unexplained footprints and voices while exploring her unsubmerged chambers. Strange, unsettling feelings and spontaneous fires were also reported, as were the smells and sounds of cooking in the ship's kitchen. The engines of many boats which neared the wreck inexplicably failed, and it's said that horses ridden along the beach across from where the Alkimos was stranded became nervous and refused to cross the section of the beach in front of the accursed ship. Divers drowned and even went missing while exploring the wreck, and many became terribly ill when they got back on land. True or not, the Alkimos eventually sunk beneath the waves and disintegrated, taking her secrets with her. Saipan, the largest northern Mariana island, was under Japanese control until US forces took it in the Battle of Saipan in June and July 1944. Many Japanese civilians, just like they did on Okinawa, jumped from the cliffs to their deaths, though this story isn't about those poor souls. In 2008, an American woman visited the island and explored an old bomb shelter there. It was the middle of the day, yet when she entered the shelter, she was caught in a storm of ghostly activity. The woman claimed she saw cigarette smoke-like apparitions, about 5 feet tall and adorned in Japanese military uniform, dashing into the shelter. She said, "I could see their heads and bodies, but not their hands and feet. They were going through me to get inside of the bomb shelter." She also claimed she heard a rumble, distant yet getting close, and even explosions. In Russia, after the war, battlefield looters were excavating a site near the Makayevsky Monastery, not far from the town of Liskovo. Things were going well enough, but then night set in, and they noticed what seemed like a bonfire lighting up the sky from some distance away. As they neared it, they learnt it was not a bonfire, but a ball of fire suspended somehow in the air. When they dared closer, the fire went out, snuffed like a candle between a finger and thumb. As the looters tried for sleep, screams echoed through the forest surrounding them, and the next day, one of the men ventured just a short distance into the forest, only to get completely turned around. With an expression of both terror and madness on his face, he eventually returned to the group, but refused to tell them what he saw lingering out there among the trees. Other battlefield looters reported similar unexplained occurrences in dark forests elsewhere on what had been the Eastern Front. One group reported the sound of tank treads clanking over the forest floor, and when they woke the next morning, they were shocked to find fresh tank tracks exactly where they had heard the tank in that night. Nothing is as scary as a ghost tank. Well, that's certainly something we've never tried before, but what do you think? Would you like to see us cover more paranormal World War II related stories, or even World War I or Vietnam War related? Please let us know in the comments section below. And just before you go, guys, if you want to join our wider history community, do check out the links in the description below, including our Discord where you can chat to myself and other history buffs, and the Instagram and Facebook where you can check out exclusive content you won't find on this channel. Anyways, guys, as always, thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video.